What you guys, got another video here for you. Now the other day someone mentioned about RAMDisk and could I possibly make a more modern video on RAMDisk. I thought I'd make a video that's up to date, and we're going to take a look at how you can speed up your browsing experience with something like RAMDisk. You can also put in there programs and stuff like that that really want to open fast and use that memory. Okay, now remember, the more memory you got, the better it is on your system. If you've got an old system, you're going to benefit from using RAMDisk as well. You can do browsing via RAMDisk as well, which makes it very, very fast indeed. Now SSDs have been around for a while and they've sort of speeded up the process, so sort of RAMDisk has sort of taken a back seat for a while. But if you still want to use it and have a look at it, I'm going to show you how you can do it in this video. You can also set up your games in there as well. Now the free piece of software you can use is called RAMDisk, and it's here called Data RAM. Now this has been around for quite a while and you can read all the information here. It's super fast. If you've got quite a bit of memory, it's nice to just set aside a little bit of memory for RAMDisk. Now you've got to remember, if you don't set it up right, all the information in there will be wiped. You can see here what it's used for, and browser cache and stuff like that for super fast web surfing and stuff like that, and games. They're the main ones that I would use it for. Now you don't have to buy this to get these larger sizes, but what you can do is come down and get the free version. Now the free version will give you up to 1 GB, which isn't a lot, but that's enough for web browsing. Now if you want to use the same sort of software, you can do, and you can use it via the AMD Radeon website, and they offer you 4 GB for free. So you can come here and use the same software basically, but it's got their name on it, and it will give you up to 4 GB if you want to do that. Okay, so whatever one you want to use, they're pretty much both the same thing and they'll do the same job. Okay, so we're going to use the data RAM here for the video. So we're going to come here and download this. And once you've got this downloaded, got to open it up and install it. I'm going to drop these down here so you can see. I'm going to accept the license agreement there, and you can click on advanced here and see where that's going. Okay, that's going there. That's fine. I'm going to go install and let this install. Say yes to this and just install this onto the system. So we're going to launch RAMDisk after installation. Click finish here and we're going to launch it, and you'll see this open up. Okay, so we've now got this open here, and as you can see, it's pretty self-explanatory and pretty easy to set up here. All you need to concentrate is on your location for your RAMDisk. I'm going to leave mine in my C root directory. I'm going to leave this as ramdisk.img, which is your image. You can go up to 1023 megabytes, as you can see here. I'm just going to set this at around about, say, 500. You can set it to whatever you like, just for the browser. Okay, so pretty much that should be good enough. You can even go a little bit lower than that if you wanted to, but that should be ample for web browsing. So what we're going to do next here is go up to view here and go into the advanced options, and this is going to open up the advanced options. So we've got our 500 megabytes set up here, and we're going to do this as FAT32. Down here we're going to set the label disk as RAMDisk. You can name this whatever you like, but I'm going to leave it as this so I can understand what that is. And what we want to do next, we're just going to go through here. So load disk image at startup, and you can do this save disk image at shutdown if you want to do that, if you want to save that disk image at shutdown. And they're the options right there. Okay, so we don't need to worry about anything else. Okay, so that's how I'm going to have mine set up, and what we're going to do here now is we're going to click start, and this will start to install. Going to install this, and there we have our RAMDisk, which is give us a drive letter of E. So it's right there, and there's nothing in there at the moment, as you can see. and there's only 500 megabytes. Now what that's going to do is going to take some memory, okay, because that's exactly how this works. So we can now close this off. We're finished with this now. It is running, so we just close that off. So that's took 500 megs of my memory to create that little RAM disk, okay. So now what we need to do now, so now we've completed that, what we need to do is reboot our computer, and this is going to make this all work. So let's go ahead and reboot our computer. Okay, so we've rebooted our computer and our RAM disk should now be in place, and there we go. And there's nothing inside there, it's just took a little teeny bit of RAM there off the RAM disk for the Windows to control it and the software to control it. Now also a thing to remember as well is that's took 500 megabytes from our memory, okay, what we've got installed into our computer, because this is how this drive is going to be working, okay. So this is running off of memory, so it'll be super fast. So what we need to do next is put our browser in there, and we can do this very quickly by going onto our Google Chrome. So what we're going to do here is right click on the Google Chrome icon and then right click here and go properties, and inside here we need to put a piece of code. I have a piece of code here we can use. This end part can be whatever you like. Just remember to make sure the letter is the same here. I'm going to copy this. There we go. I'm going to go up to target here, push space, and then paste that in like so. Now all we need to do here is just make sure, as you can see, we are on E, and we're going to apply this and OK. Now as soon as we open our browser, you can see here we do have a ChromeCache folder, and of course when we start surfing the web that will start to get larger. So you can see inside here now, this is our folder. You can see it's 6.94 megabytes in size. You can always make this bigger if you start running out of space, but basically that's the size of it. And if I go and do say BBC, go to the BBC here website, and there we go. So if we look here, you can see that getting larger in size, and that's because all the content inside here is growing from surfing the web. Okay, you can see the test running here. I've had to install the AMD Radeon RAMDisk version because it gives me that extra size. I needed that extra size so I can run the test, but you can see the speeds are absolutely phenomenal. They really are. And the test is still running. It's just preparing the last one here, and you can see the speeds there, 4,231 and 4,037 writes. So pretty decent reads and writes here, and I'm pretty impressed with that sort of speed. And then remember guys, this is for free. I have quite a lot of memory on this system, and if I had the paid version I could even go higher than 4 gigabytes if I wanted, or 4,092 megabytes if I wanted to. So it depends on what you want it for, but you can speed up the process, and especially those old machines, it's awesome for those to speed it up, and you can get speeds like this without spending any money. So what we're going to do is take a look at the speeds for my SSD, and you can see here 4K, pretty decent speeds here. So let's go ahead and do another speed test on my SSD. So I'm going to run a speed on my C drive, which is my SSD, and this is the Samsung, I think it is, SSD. You can see the speeds there. It's actually faster than that Samsung SSD drive. Now obviously if you've got an SSD, then stick that in your machine and you won't have to worry about things because it'll be super fast, and of course you're not using your memory on your system, so that is always a bonus. But if you've got an older type system and you don't want to put an SSD in, and you want to give yourself a little bit of speed when you're browsing and stuff like that, or any documents that you're moving around, then you can use that RAM disk. Okay, but SSDs are sort of changed the way we use our computers nowadays, and it makes sense to use one of these because they're so much faster. And this is what you're seeing on the screen right now. But just remember, the scores of that RAM disk is still pretty impressive as well. Now again, this is running speed tests on a mechanical drive, and you can see how slow the results are. So you could literally, as I said, use that RAM disk if you haven't got an SSD and speed that process up by quite a lot, as you can see here. Now obviously an SSD is the way to go. If you can afford one of those, then go and buy one. They're essential nowadays. But if you're on a mechanical drive and you want to get a bit more speed, then obviously use yourself some RAM disk as well. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this one up. I hope this one helps you out, guys. My name is Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. Have a great weekend, and I shall see you again for another video. Bye for now.